Hello everyone and welcome back to Master Site. Today we have Game 5 of Kings of Winter. This will be top table, the only two undefeated players left at this point in the event. So we got a repeat, as you can see from the picture here. This will be Austin Howell and his Undead against my EoD. So Austin's looking for some payback from the last game that we played, where my elves just kind of shot him up pretty good. So, but Austin brought a little bit of a different list than what he did before. So let's go ahead and dive into it here. So Austin's got 5 troops of ghouls and a regiment of ghouls. He then has a regiment of wraiths. He has 3 regiments of Soul Reaver infantry, one with Blood of the Old King, another with Fury, and the last with Headstrong. He then has a Vampire Lord that's mounted with the Axe of the Giant Slayer, a Lich King that subbed out Surge for heal and then took Shroud of the Saint, a Vampire Lord on Dragon with Blessing of the Gods, and a Revenant King on Flying Worm with the Brew of Sharpness. So rounds them out to 14 drops, 22 unit strength, and some pretty nasty fighting abilities here. So let's go ahead and see what we're going to be playing here. Austin was taking the Drakon. So we first 3 or 4 Drakons and just the one monster. So none of the special chariots for us. But my giant finally got one of the 2 that I was really looking for the whole tournament here. We got Radiance of Life this time. And game 5 is just straight out of the book, Invade. And here is our battlefield. So I forget if I chose sides or if he did, but I'll be on the bottom, he'll be on the top. And after deployment is this. So going into deployment, keeping the same recipe for success that I have been up to this point, which is pick one side, deploy the majority of my battle line there. In this case, there was a building here, so I wanted this half of the board, because on this side of the building that was only about a third of the table, so I need a little bit more room than that. And then also Invade, just need to push across this middle line here, and then this impassable breaks up his line. So as far as terrain, we have a hill in the top left and in the center with an obstacle on top of this hill, and the other obstacle here at the deployment zone. We have a flat on the left and center, the 2 obstacles obviously, and then the 2 forests are on the right, one on top, one on bottom. So for Austin's deployment here, we have his dragon, vampire dragon, with elite, is out on the far left. He has 1, 2, 3 of his ghoul troops with his wraiths behind one, and the Soul Reaver infantry with the Blood of the Old King here. He has his mounted vampire lord there. He then has his Frost Drakon centralized here, with his regiment of ghouls, another troop, the heal Lich Priest, and then the Fury / Headstrong. I don't think it actually matters here, but another Soul Reaver infantry, ghouls, Soul Reaver infantry here, and then the undead worm flying worm with sharpness. So another dragon, effectively. Um, on my side, off to the way far left, we put our chariot out there. Basically, I don't want him to just have this pathway for free. So he could easily just kind of close the door, and anything I push up here, I'm not actually going to get beyond the center line without exposing a flank, because this building is on my side of the table. So I needed to have something out from the far left to threaten him here. So I put enslaved guardians here behind the building. They're positioned to where they can go either direction that I need them to. Scabs at the back. The troop of mummies centralized here with my undead worm behind it. Shobik, the frost monster here, kind of centralized. I want them to try and hold down this particular flank, as it were. So I have Sebek Ray behind them. I then have my regiment of mummies, the soul snare, the horde of skeletons, a spearman unit behind them, the monolith over here, last spearman unit, and last enslaved guardian horde. So the deployment's very conscious for me, being invade and being as the right side's the side I want to push across. So looking at this, as far as just number when it comes to unit strength, on the right I have 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, literally on just this third of the board. So that's 15 unit strength, 16 with the monolith, that I'm just saying these are the ones that are getting across the board. And then I have equal number of units in the Shobik, the monster, the troop of mummies, the worm, that are on their left flank protecting, but they're going to be in the much more dangerous zone, and all of those are just worth one each. So if all four of these die, that's 4 unit strength, whereas these units are just as easy to kill when you look at straight nerve and defense, but each one of these is worth 3 times as much as one of these. So it's very much a numbers game in that aspect, where I know I'm going to be more defensive when I go up against the board edge, and I know that the center is where most of the scrum is going to be at, and more likely where I'm going to lose units. So this was my deployment, knowing that that's what I expect here. So I did win the roll off for first turn, and I move up like so. So the chariot moves up. Dragon can come in. It'll be hindered. We're perfectly fine with that. Likely, if he takes that charge, I'm just nimble pivoting and going around him. I don't really even care to try and fight this dragon out here. I just need to delay it. It's all, again, it's a unit strength game, so it's only 1 unit strength for a 17-19 life leeching 2 dragon, and I don't have enough firepower out here to take that out. So I'm just playing a delay game on the left flank here. I push up rather aggressively, and then I decide I want to surge up aggressively too. And I get like 6 or 7 successes on my Surge 8 from the Monolith here. So they're way up there on the hill. Luckily, the only thing that can actually see them and hit them is just this Drakon here. So I'm not too worried about that. And my undead worm decides to come out here again. I want to put stuff on the left flank so that he can't just walk right through this gap here. And then I move up in position to be able to threaten anything that he might be advancing with. So yeah, so that is my turn 1. So Austin's turn 1, and he answers by just moving the dragon out of line of sight over here. again, fine. I'm perfectly fine doing this little song and dance. Just delay. Oh, yeah. He moved the rest of this stuff up as such. He definitely wants to shoot the gap here, but he also has to divert 1, 2, 3, 4 units, total of 7 unit strength out here to the left. And so far, I only have 1, 2, 3. That and the worm's not even fully committed here, I would say. But I have 3 units, all worth just 1 unit strength out this way. On the right, he just kind of shuffles up a little bit. He wants to avoid this forest, but there's really not enough room for all of it, so he's kind of squeezing through here. I'll likely be able to have these guys hindered because of the forest here. There's just not enough space. And so this is what the board state looks like. His dragon does shoot Icy Breath. It was in range, so he shoots the Icy Breath. His dragon was ridiculous. Like, it had the elite item, but I think it hit like 8 or 9 out of the 10 shots that it had. Luckily, it only did like 1 or 2 wounds, but Austin definitely was making me sweat with some of these rolls here. So, yeah, so this is top of 2 now, and looking at it, I felt like I had an opportunity to just take out a unit strength. It got me into a decent position where the dragon couldn't hit me, so I went ahead and I did a double charge. So the chariot's the only thing that really needed to be in there to kill it, but the scavengers are going to be in here so that I can reform and protect my chariot from these two, which are definitely going to be in the front and able to charge me. The vampire on horse here could also have gotten over, so I felt like this was a good time to use my chaff to protect. And then just inch forward a little bit, kept everything over here in the flank of the dragon. Most of it's out of range, but I'm projecting a threat pretty much out here. So his dragon can't get around behind my lines because of this effectively. And then also anything that goes into this will have the dragon or my worm to worry about. Um, I'll show it here. The centers don't have a good picture of the center. The right flank, I just move up further. These mummies got surged up way too far, so they actually didn't do much besides just shuffle. I did decide to put this Drakon in my flank and made it to where it would be a hindered charge with the hill. Realistically, it only has 5 attacks, and the only other things in range are these ghouls that could charge me. So neither of the Soul Reavers are in range. So I just kind of am baiting him with some charges that I'll I'll be happy if he takes in most situations. Um, so we ended up killing the troop of ghouls over here. I turned my chariot to face this way. I really want to face it to the right, but doing the math and whatnot, it's unlikely he actually breaks these scavengers. And the scavengers are height 3, and they're on top of the hill, so my chariot character can't actually see over them. So I'm not gaining anything by looking to the right unless these guys break. Which is possible, but the odds say it's more likely that they live than they die. So I turned to face him this way just to make the dragon at least have to think. And then in the center, here's a better picture. I move up more aggressively with Shobik and this mummy troop. And these guys are, the enslaved guardians are just going to be there to follow up and punch. So at this point, I pretty much let anything over here in range to charge Shobik. And I had put Shobik just slightly ahead of the troop of mummies, so that way less could fit in here. Um, he can't really double charge much anyway because of the heights, but my goal here is that Shobig should be able to tank even the Slayer, um, Vampire Lord mounted, and these guys behind with the Blood of the Old King, because math says they should have 12 or 13 hits, maybe plus one or two with the elite that they get. So we'll say 15 hits, and then wounding on fours. So 8 wounds, maybe plus one or two with the vicious. So we're looking at 10 wounds. Kind of at best for these guys, and then the vampire can put in another 7 attacks plus a D3, so we'll say 9 attacks, threes and fours. So you're looking at another 3 wounds there. So kind of eyeball loosely on the high end, like 13 wounds at is like the high average. So he needs a 5 twice. Um, yeah, and I have the punch countering it. I'm okay with it. So that's the gamble that I'm willing to take. And again, Shobik's just 1 unit strength at this point, so he's not as valuable. So over on the left for Austin's movement, he goes ahead and double charges as we kind of expected. He was able to just back up and pivot and get out of my front arc. So this was a slight mistake on my part. This worm down here was covering if he ran straight forward or if he wanted to get anywhere over here out of my arc. So I should have faced this to where he could not have backed up and done this for free. So that was definitely a mistake on my part. On the right, I forgot I did shoot the gap with the soul snare into these ghouls, and I ended up wavering them. So slowing up his lines a little bit is always helpful. He double charges with the ghouls into the mummies. They're not going anywhere. He's just trying to clog up my lines here. And then in the center, he decides to just take the regiment into Shobig. So I think he was thinking that um, he he was also kind of doing the math probably and realizing he likely doesn't kill Shobig, so he just was charging to put a good amount of wounds on him. Personally, I think I would rather see the Ghoul troop charge Shobik and then these two charge the troop of mummies. But anyway, so I just needed to take better pictures in the middle. Sorry, guys. So going into combat, he wavers the scavengers. So and shooting, he does another couple wounds. The chariot had regen and life leech, so it was full from the last shooting wounds that it took. So it takes a couple more here. And then in the center, he rolls out of his mind with this ghoul troop and the vampire lord. So the ghoul troop has, I think it's 12 attacks in a troop, I want to say. Hitting on fours, wounding on fives. So 6 hits, 2 wounds should be average. And then the vampire has 7 attacks on threes and threes. So it should be maybe another 3 wounds. So he should have done 5 to a -14 unit that's inspired. Um, yeah, he did 11 wounds to me total. He just rolled ridiculous and broke the troop. So reforms were like this. He overran to block up these guys and then stayed put here. And then here he ended up taking 6 wounds. 2 were life leeched from the Soul Reavers. And I think he did like the around the 9-10 wounds that kind of math expected, but Shobik stuck around. So um, yeah, so yeah, this is why I didn't really care for this play is that you're this is an injured unit now with the blood of the old king. Like if this was a full healthy unit and Shobik and even this guy were able to get into him, I likely don't kill this unit. But when you have 4 wounds on you already, that should be well in my favor to break them. So yeah. So this, and then he does like a couple wounds to these guys, and they stick around. So this is the board after turn 2, so top of 3 to me. Um, yeah, and I just move across. So it's invade. I have no problem moving these things closer. I charge the scavengers into the flank here. They were sitting in the forest right here. Height 3, easy shot. I charge the horde into his worm, hindered. I don't care. I just want to get a wound on him to make it so he doesn't fly. And then what's it called? And I'm fine if he's taking a hinder charge with this and this. I have a dash 22. He likely doesn't kill me, so. And then I'm trying to get some damage onto these ghouls here. I likely don't break the ghoul regiment. I move in position to where I'm gonna soul snare the this ghoul troop and then heal Shobik. Um, so ghouls being defense 3, it's a real easy target to heal off of, and I just put the skeletons in to try and finish them off as well. Shobik and the Frost Giant with Strider go into this unit, and we obviously charge the ghouls here. We stay put there, and then I just needed to reform, just keep this dragon in the front, and we just kind of stay put. My undead worm sees a flank, take the flank. Um, it's a defense 6 wraith unit. It's not that great of odds for me, but what I'm banking on here is he has no inspiring. So I'm just hoping to get a good nerve roll. But odds are, with my 20 attacks in the flank hitting on 4s, I hit 10 times, crushing 3 to defense 6. I wound 6, maybe 7 times. So I need a 9 or 10 to break them just one time. So that's really what I'm hoping for here, and that's, in my mind, this is the best odds I'm going to have at killing this particular ghoul, or not ghoul, Wraith regiment. He can easily just get them across the line after this. So you'll see I did the 6 wounds. That was expected. Did not break them. I did, however, break the ghoul troop and then overran to this position. Shobik and the Bone Giant broke their regiment. Or not Bone Giant, the Frost Giant. The Frost Giant decided to withdraw or back up D3 and got all the way back here because he was just in range of these guys. I think I needed a 2-inch or further to get out of charge range. So we were successful there. And then Shobik's just turned to face here. So I will say, in my shooting, I did no wounds. I got 1 hit and then rolled a 1 to wound with the soul snare onto these ghouls. So I didn't get a heal Shobik with any of that. I did, however, Radiance of Life, his Iron Resolve, and then Sevic Ray is back here that casted heal over the top. So Shobik's pretty healthy, but the big thing is that these guys are out of range. So the only thing that can hit him is the vampire. So moving on, combat. I did 6 wounds. Pretty happy with that. I between regen, radiance of life, life leech. The mummies are completely full. And then the spearmen, they were hindered. So hitting on 6s, wounding on 3s. They completely whiff against this ghoul troop, and so this ghoul troop tanked a full round of attack and a full 9 shots from drain life like a champ. No wounds, no wounds taken. So yeah. And then I had moved these guys up and then surged them further forward. So in combat, I did get at least one wound onto the worm from the horde here, so he's not able to fly over. So now it is bottom of three, and Austin decides his vampire wasn't gonna take out anything over there, so he brings it over against the undead worm here. He definitely had range, and then he counters with the race. The ghouls go back in here, and then he hits the chariot in the front. So there is his line. There is nothing in the center now because he ran that vampire away. So I've successfully taken the middle, and now I just want to try and roll through the right side here. He the flank charge onto these ghouls. Also, I don't think I did a wound, or maybe I did one. He has 3 wounds there, but some of that was from the shooting the round before. So, yeah, it was pretty lackluster for these guys. So, so they're getting double charged. The horde of skeletons is getting double charged because of where the scavengers are. He couldn't slide any further. So, yep, as we expected here. So combat, he kills the chariot, which I was not expecting. Because I did regen. I think I may have had 1 wound still on me from his shooting, uh, or I might have been healthy. Either way, I'm a dash 16. He only has 10 attacks, hitting on 3s with elite, wounding on 2s. Austin hits all 10, wounds all 10, rolls like a 10 twice, and he just says, I don't give a shit. He just picks up that chariot, and this dragon has been like MVP rolling out of his mind on everything so far this game. So uh, I'm I'm just glad that that guy's not actually where it counts, in my opinion. So uh, he does fail to kill the worm, so that's nice of him. But yeah, this elite dragon has shown me its power, true power. And then here he kills the scavengers, reforms. He does nothing to the mummies. He does a couple wounds to the skeletons. He does like 10 to 12 to 13 wounds on the horde. Just not enough to break it. The hindered charge really prevents him from getting enough to overcome their dash 22. And I believe this turn he also scorched earths Shobik, so that he's only crushing 2 or hitting on 4s this next turn because he'll be hindered. And this is top of 4, so before movement and after movement. So we were in the flank over here. These guys were in the front, so we went ahead and did flank front. We countercharged the dragon because, again, we don't want it flying over. Countercharge, countercharge. We double charge with Shobik and the Frost Monster into the front here. Sebek Ray's just moving up. The Enslaved Guardians are moving over, so we are out of range of anything on the left flank here. And again, bulk of my scoring is right here, and it's already over the line. And then I was able to get a angle and a surge off into the flank. So you'll see the angle here will lead to where I connect with the flank here, not hitting the corner, but the actual flank. I have Sebek Ray and the Monolith in range, so between those two, I think I needed like a 5, maybe 6 inches, and I did get it. So they connect and complete like so. And then, so this is what it looks like here after combat. So I do a good number onto these Soul Reavers. Looks like get them up to 11 wounds. I believe this is the Headstrong unit over here. I did waver them Um, and yeah, and then I did a few wounds. You'll see I did quite a few wounds. I think this turn, like 4 or 5 wounds to the worm. So mummies killed and overran the enslaved guardians. If they reformed any other way, he could have jumped over. So I just reformed a face towards the left here. And the skeletons actually kill off the ghouls this turn with the combined fire, so it worked this time. And by this time, Shobik is completely full health as well. So we countercharge the race, thinking they're the highest unit strength. Maybe we can get lucky. Only put another 2 wounds on them, fail to break them. So this is the board going into bottom of 4. So again, across the board here, I've already accomplished my goal halfway through. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units that are unit strength 3, so 18 unit strength. 1, 2, 3 others that are worth 1. So I have over 20 unit strength on my opponent's half of the board with a shambling army. That's pretty good. And then looking at it, my at this point, I'm just looking and I realize, Austin just doesn't have the unit strength left because uh, the units that are bogged up over here, it doesn't matter if they take out 1 or 2 units with them, they're still going to be on this side of the table and likely dead by the end of the game. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 unit strength out on the left that he can get across, and if he wants to fly the Drakon over, he can get another one. So right now we're sitting at basically, we'll say 20 to 6 unit strength that's possible for him to get across. So at this point in the game, it was just we. Austin even mentioned he's like, well, I'm going for kill points at this point because even with the blackjack, I think if I had 10 or more unit strength over him, I get the max out. So there's really no point for him to even get 3, 5, or 5 unit strength across the board when I have this much left. But he does get his headstrong roll, and he charges into the worm here, try and finish it off. The vampire lord just comes running over here to try and say hello to a couple of juicy targets. Epic Rays here. He obviously has duelist, and then the soul snare is behind the hill right now. But yeah, we're a little worried about that guy. We don't like him. He does get his headstrong roll, countercharges the spearman unit, so that should die. That's 3 unit strength off the table in his favor. And then he just needs to hold up Shobik, so he charges in. I did actually turn my frost monster around to face this way, thinking that this side of the combat's already taken care of, and Shobik is obviously facing the other way, so I should be fine. He kills the worm as expected, overruns pretty far with the ghouls, just reforms, so on. He as good of his rolls as he's had on the left, it's been equally bad on the right here. So his Soul Reavers do not kill a defense 4-15 spearman unit. Yeah, hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s. That unit should have been dead quite easily. He should have 11 wounds on him and need a 4 twice. And I think he did something like 7 wounds total. So unfortunate for that side here. And then his worm doesn't break this unit. I believe I pumped my drain life heals into this unit here, so trying to keep my unit strength alive now. That Shobik is in less of a threat for his damage. So yeah, nothing on my lines breaks on the right, just the worm died. So top of 5, this is what we look at. And there's really not going to be much to do here. So One thing I realized is that the unit strength count, I feel like there's no reason for me not to just go in further for some kills. So definitely would not advise this move in general, but just didn't like this vampire lord where he was, so I moved the enslaved guardians as close as I could so I can get some surging off and protect Sebic Ray. So I did that, moved the bone giant or the frost monster up in such a way that if the I think it was just the dragon could reach in, everything else was out of range. And then the spearmen are moving over just to try and protect my flanks a little bit over here. It was a double front charge over here, so we take that, charge back in, charge into the troop, and everything charges. We end up crumbling the right flank, kill the soul reavers over there. The dragon took another wound or two. He's been pumping heals into this dragon um, throughout the game here. This is his heal 7 guy or heal 8. Nothing too spectacular has happened with his heals. It's just recovered a couple wounds, but I don't even think it's been the dragon's probably the main one, but anything else that it healed, it was already dead. Like this regiment had 11 wounds on it, so there was no point in healing it. And the ghoul troops just don't have high enough nerve or defense to really count on the heal to matter. So yeah, the heal was a little underwhelming this game. I do get my surge connected here, so going for the kill there. I know it's not great odds, but uh, like I said, I didn't have anything to lose at this point, so I decided instead of just huddling up over in the corner over here to at least play the game out, have some fun. And after combats, going into bottom of 5, this is how it looks. Shobik just, punched him, didn't kill him. Punched the dragon, didn't kill it. Killed off the troop of ghouls, so this mummy unit has a flank on either of these two. We killed, we sidestepped, we just reformed. So, and then we did do 11 wounds to the vampire lord, which 18 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. That's actually really good. I think math says it should have been like 9-ish wounds. So I did 11 wounds, but I didn't roll the 5 twice to kill him. So happens. But I did get a waiver on him, so Sebic was safe and whatnot, which was kind of the half goal. I didn't need to save Sebic. He's doesn't really matter for anything in this game. But yeah, so we hit it. We almost killed it. It's in kill range now. We got a soul snare, so we'll be focusing that guy down here. And then he just moves up. Again, even with me throwing this unit away effectively, he doesn't have enough unit strength to reduce a max out for blackjack scenario. So his countercharge doesn't kill anything. I think he's been doing 1 wound to Shobik and just Iron Resolving, or maybe 2 wounds and then Iron Resolve plus Radiance of Life. I mean, even if he does 3 wounds, I got Iron Resolve, Radiance of Life, and Life Leech just every turn. So Shobik is not going anywhere, and like most of my units here. But he does get a kill on the Horde here, so that was 3 unit strength, but it's the hardest 3 to get, being a -22. So he's now stuck between Regiment of Mummies and a Horde of Guardians, and he's gonna die. He does kill the Horde of Guardians over here with the flank charge, and then turns to face like so. So this is what it looks like going into turn 6. So I can't have the dragon getting into the rear of Shobik, so we charge him. Well, we charge this dragon first. So triple charge. He faced to the right, so we got double front, one in the rear. Shobik already has this guy up to like 9 wounds, so I'm pretty comfortable with him finishing it off. We charge the spears off of the hill into the dragon, so I'm pretty confident we can get 1 wound at least. And you'll see the soul snare moved up to touch the hill. We want to get a wound here and try and pick this guy up, just trying to get kill points. And then see, Sebek ran through over here. He's not going to cast, but he's in a safe spot over here at the very least, and he'll be inspiring our giant. Which the giant's going for a lucky kill. He's only got 5 attacks and crushing 1, but these guys have 8 wounds on them already, or 7 wounds after a life leech. So, we're hoping to break another unit that just gets some more kill points. The Soul Snare does do the wound and does pick up the Vampire Lord. Nothing else kills, but we did get a wound on his dragon here. We killed the other dragon, turned to face. So this is how it looks, bottom of 6. He double charges with my phalanx with the dragon. It's hitting on 4s with elite, wounding on 2s, and then the ghouls, they should be doing another like 3 wounds on average. So it's definitely possible for him to kill this, but I think it's going to be like 7 twice is about what the math says. So, and then this guy's full health and inspired, so I don't expect him going anywhere. And that's the game. We do not get a turn 7, so I end up getting the win. I think it was a 18-3 victory in my favor. But I did get the bonus point for killing his Drakon, my guys alive, and had participated in combat. So a 19-3 victory in the end for me, which brings me to a total of 5-0 at the event. So very, very happy with the Dust and how they performed this weekend. And especially with the support of the Frost Monster. Even though I didn't get the auras that I was really hoping to get for most of the tournament, the Cloak of Death proved to be quite valuable in the 2 games that I had it. And then even with some lackluster auras, they still were very helpful in this type of a list that requires more of a combined force and play style. Everything's very much reliant on other things in order to get the job done. So yeah, had 5 great games, 5 awesome opponents, and it turns out they were giving away this awesome sword for the first place award. So I was really happily surprised by that. It sounded like it was kind of a last minute thing that Jeff Westerhold was unaware of. And so he's like, heck yeah, I'll give out a sword. So I ended up getting that in the end, as well as a plaque and even a $100 gift card to the game store that we were playing out of. So really, really happy with the turnout of this. So the final standings are as follows here. So even though I went 5-0, I had 90 battle points, but you'll see in third place here, Travis Tim was only 6 battle points behind me, even with the 1 loss to me. So it definitely was not a stomp by any means on my part. It was very marginal victories. But man, Travis's other games, it sounded like when he got a win, it was 20 points or more. He was just tabling people quite handily. And then Garrett from Colorado finished second place overall, just 5 points behind me in the overall. He had a beautifully painted Trident Realm army with all these crustaceans and octopus. It was just a great looking army, and he also won Player's Choice for the army there. So just a really great tournament overall, and very well run. Jeff puts on an awesome event, so I would highly recommend for anybody that's looking for an event. Sounds like he's going to keep his time slot at the beginning of the year, so January next year in Springfield, Missouri. Definitely keep an eye out for that one. Jeff was really gracious host, fed us on site on Sunday so that we could do a quick lunch. You know, got through the games, kept things on time there, so we could get out of there after the awards and whatnot. I think that for us Omaha guys, we were on the road by 3 o'clock, 3:30, and we were home by like 9 o'clock. So that's a lot better than most events for us. It was only like a 5 hour, 5.5 hour drive. So it's quite a bit closer than a lot of events we end up going to, which are closer to the 8 to 10 hour time frame. So yeah, just can't say enough good things about the event, about my opponents that I had. Just had a really fun time, and then everybody that I roomed with in the Airbnb. It was just overall a great start to the 2023 season. And obviously it's always great to get some wins, especially when you're pulling out an older army. So had a blast. I think I can definitely see myself playing EoD in the future here in 2023. So we'll see. The next event that's on my schedule will be Adepticon at the end of March. I guess before that, there is a 1 day we're hosting in Omaha. It'll be the March Hare, which will be Saturday, the 11th of March. So if anybody watching this is close to the Omaha area, let me know if you want some more details. We'll get that information to you. But yeah, so 1 day in March 11th, and then it'll be Adepticon. I'm planning on playing a couple other games as well, so doing Armada and Firefight on Friday. So gonna go back to back with two things there, and then doing the 2 day event for Kings of War as well. So as we get closer, we'll decide a little bit more on if EoD is the one that I'll be taking, or maybe it'll be elves, or I got Night Stalkers, and we'll just see. We'll play it by ear up to that point. So, um, but yeah, thank you everybody that's watched, especially if you watched all 5 games and even the 1 day that I have out there before that. I plan on doing this for the rest of the events that I'm going to this year. So, I really appreciate everybody that's watched up till now. So. Just a big thank you, and more to come in March. So we'll see you guys next time.